Today we are going to learn about the hypothalamus. So we have already learned about the thalamus. The hypothalamus is also a part of the diencephalon. So the hypothalamic sulcus which divides the diencephalon into dorsal and ventral parts. Today we are going to learn about the hypothalamus. So it is a small region of the brain and the hypothalamus is located in the base of the brain. It is a thin sheet of grey matter which is found on the base of the brain. Its weight is only 4 grams. And now let's see the boundaries of the hypothalamus. So before going into the boundaries, actually it is a very small region of the brain, but it has a crucial role in many important functions, that is many visceral functions and metabolic activities of the body. Okay, now let's see about the boundaries. So superiorly, this is the hypothalamus. Look here. So here is the third ventricle and the hypothalamus forms the lateral border of the third ventricle, and also the inferior surface of the third ventricle is also covered by the hypothalamus. So it covers the third ventricle in the lateral area and also on the inferior surface. So superiorly, the boundaries, now let's see. Superiorly it's bounded by the two thalami. Look here, the two thalamus are present on the superior aspect. And inferiorly we can see the two mammillary body and also this portion, that is the swelling of the hypothalamus, downward swelling, is known as the tuber cinereum. We have already learned while we are learning the thalamus. So look again. So there are 3 swellings on the hypothalamus. So these are the 2 swellings of the hypothalamus which are present on the inferior aspect. So these 2 mammillary bodies, and there is another one big swelling on the inferior aspect, that is known as the tuber cinereum, and this stalk is called the infundibulum. So what are the structures forming the inferior surface of the hypothalamus? The mammillary body and the tuber cinereum and infundibulum. Okay, now let's see about the anterior boundary. Anteriorly it's bounded by the lamina terminalis. What is mean by the lamina terminalis? So it is a thin sheet of grey matter that is attached to the upper surface of the optic chiasma. We know that this is the optic chiasma and here is the optic tract and these are the optic nerves. So the linea terminalis is a thin sheet of grey matter that is attached to the upper surface of the optic chiasma, and also this lamina terminalis, it stretches between this optic chiasma and to the corpus callosum, that is the rostrum area of the corpus callosum. Next is the posterior boundary. We have learned the anterior boundary is the lamina terminalis. The posterior boundary is formed by the, look here. So here is the hypothalamus. Below that is beneath the thalamus, this is the midbrain, pons and the medulla oblongata. So the posterior boundary is formed by the midbrain and the subthalamus. We have already learned the anterior boundary is formed by the lamina terminalis and also by the optic chiasma, and the posterior boundary is formed by the midbrain and the subthalamus. Next is the lateral boundary. While we are learning the thalamus, we learned that the lateral boundaries are formed by the internal capsule. Similarly, for the hypothalamus also, the lateral boundaries are formed by the internal capsule. But on each side of the hypothalamus, the optic tract and the crus cerebri are present. Next is the medial boundary. The medial boundary is formed by the third ventricle. Okay. Now look at this diagram. We have already learned the third ventricle is bounded on the lateral aspect and the inferior aspect by the hypothalamus. Now in this diagram you can see the right and the left fornix. Look here, right and the left fornix. So these two fornix were entering into the hypothalamus. They are embedded in the hypothalamus. So they divide the hypothalamus, that is each half of the hypothalamus. This is the right half and this is the left half of the hypothalamus. So this right and left fornix divide each side of the hypothalamus into medial area and lateral area. Medial part and lateral part. Look here. This is the right fornix. So it divides the right part of the hypothalamus into medial part and lateral part. We learned that the fornix divides the right and left part of the hypothalamus into medial and lateral parts. Now let's discuss about the parts of the hypothalamus and the various nuclei which are present on the hypothalamus. Look here. So this is the medial part of the hypothalamus. So it's divided into, this is the optic part. The first part, it is divided into 3 parts totally. This is the optic part, and next is the tuberal part, and next is the mammillary part. Optic part, tuberal part and mammillary part. So now let's see about the various nuclei which are present in the optic part. So in the optic part there is pre-optic nuclei, and look here, paraventricular nucleus just above the supraoptic nucleus. So this is the supraoptic nucleus. Just above the supraoptic nuclei we can find the paraventricular nuclei, and in the lateral part we can find the lateral nuclei, or also known as the anterior nuclei. And also here is another nuclei known as the suprachiasmatic nuclei. So these all come from the optic part. Preoptic nuclei, paraventricular nuclei, supraoptic nuclei, lateral or anterior nuclei, suprachiasmatic nuclei. Next comes the tuberal part. So the tuberal part is formed by the dorsomedial nuclei and the ventromedial nuclei, and the tuberal nuclei which is present lateral to the ventromedial nuclei, and arcuate nuclei which is present in the floor of the third ventricle. Next is the mammillary part. The mammillary part is composed of 2 nuclei, mammillary nuclei and the posterior nuclei. So these are the various nuclei of the hypothalamus. The functions of the hypothalamus, there are so many functions of the hypothalamus. The main functions are, it plays an important role in endocrine control and general autonomic effect, neurosecretion, temperature regulation and regulation of food and water intake.